1700 FPS. Let's go. Oh god, that fucking bright screen. Holy shit. Been missing my favorite target. Well, I mean, you can probably go down to like Dick's Sporting Goods or something like that. Surely they have like, you know, a new target you can pick up. You want like a bow target or want you guys to know how stupidly proud I am of what I did with my setup? Ninja faced target. Y'all, okay, so it used to be whenever I would stream, right, I would set up my ring light on my bed because my bed is directly behind my desk. Like my desk is like up against the foot of my bed, right? Um so I would set the ring light up on the desk right behind my monitors, and when I was done with it, I would set it back down on the floor. Well, with Luna moving in and me trying to make room for shit, I was like, I don't like, this is so fucking in the way. Like this tripod takes up so much space, and the light takes up so much space. I was like, I don't want the kid messing with it. So what did I do? I have a drop down ceiling in most of my house. So what did I do? I fucking turned the tripod upside down, stuck the 3 legs fucking up. Like I pushed the ceiling tile up and stuck the tripod up and hooked it on the drop down ceiling. So my ring light is now hanging upside down from the ceiling. Alrighty. Did my settings stay then? The audio switched like I wanted it to, so that's good. So anyway, Uncle Farts, I'm glad I'm at least your favorite something anyway. Even if it is a target, I'm glad I'm your favorite something. New game. I don't really know anymore what this game is about. I know that it's not like, I don't think there's any combat in it or anything. Ak. Listen, I know you are eager to explore, but the pilgrimage is important to the people of the sky. As you know, in the early days before the Great Divide, the lands were very different from now. Instead of islands in the sky, the lands were one and the ancients inhabited the world. They built great structures, among them 3 temples here in the land of gods. Your journey will lead you to all 3 of them. But something changed. The ancients somehow caused the Great Divide, shattered the lands, and left us with islands in the sky. The priestess Kara prayed by the lighthouse and found answers that helped our people survive the Great Cataclysm. The first stop for every pilgrim is to visit Kara's shrine. So go on in, Ak. I will wait for you outside. Does Ak stand for awkward? Oh. Whee! Are we an air nomad? I feel like this might be a game that I would prefer to plug in my controller. Which first, if I'm going to do that, I need to find my cord. So give me just a second, guys. I need to find my controller cord. Since I can't really oh, you know what? Somewhere. I need to find that. I have a thing to connect it wirelessly, but I don't know where that cord is at right now. So anyway, or not cord, the dongle. I don't know where the dongle is to connect wirelessly. Plus my battery charger thingy doesn't really work anymore, so it's better to just plug it in. Anyway, be right back. 2 minutes in and talking about I can't find his dongle. Damn. It'd be like that sometimes. Oh god. Hold on. Gameplay. Invert Y. There we go. If I'm gonna play with a controller, I gotta have it inverted. There we go. Okay, so both of those buttons do the same thing. They both center the camera behind you. Oh. Have a map. Have a blank map. Oh. That, you know what? I kind of don't like that. Where, like, you're physically unable to do something until the game gives you, like, the tutorial on how to do it. You know what I mean? Like, I was hitting A, and it was not giving me the option to jump. This tablet is really worn. A part of the text is unreadable. In the land of gods, there were three, in 3 houses, slumbering in eternal skies. Interesting. That's where I came from, so what's over there? I want to go see if I can find out. Oh, I don't think I can. I think it's too high. Yeah. Damn it. Like Uncle Farts on a Friday night, it's too damn high. Got another broken thing. The memory of light in our heart, shining with the name of Kara. Her lantern guided and protected us when the world shattered and we became the people of the sky. Where's Shiru? Shiru, here's your sky children. Been a long time since those kind of Friday nights. Fair enough. I've never had that kind of Friday night. Even if I wanted to, I probably couldn't. I don't know. I tried to enjoy a little bit of that stuff, but instead I just got horrifically dizzy and lightheaded, and I was nauseous for like 2 hours. That was my experience. Enter the Hall of Memory, where sleeps the light of Kara. It never went out while she was alive. Ask, and maybe it will shine forth to answer you. There's a bunch of voices. Oh, So all these little floaty lights are actually spirits. Interesting. Or at least that's what it seems like anyway. I can't, like, interact with any of them though. Dear Magic Rock, please give me a floating light thingy. Ah! Hi-ya! Damn it. If only it would let me double jump. Any hidden secret up here? Oh, come on. That's the perfect place to put a secret. Fine, keep your secrets. Hiya! Nope. 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 Hold on. Hold on. I got this. Hold on. I got this. Yeah. Nope. Okay. I don't got this. Nope. I don't. Nope. Okay. Hiya! Nope. Okay. Fine. I give up. Luna, you're back. Oh, God. That's water. That is water that is running very, very quickly. And yet does not sweep me away for some reason. Interesting. I hope these lanterns will burn long enough to guide the young pilgrim. Me too. Ah! So many rocks almost landing on me. Oh, light at the end of the tunnel. Escape the collapsing cave. Achievement! Let's go. Achievement hunters begin. Welcome to Achievement Hunter. I don't know. I never watched Achievement Hunters, to be honest. Oh, you made it out okay. Thank the gods you're all right. What happened in there? I thought the worst when the cave collapsed. Is that the lantern? Strange. That lantern is an ancient artifact called Kara's Light. Somehow it shines for you. It's the first time in generations. Keep it safe for now. I'll stay here to investigate the shrine. Meanwhile, you should continue your pilgrimage. There's a village over by the lighthouse. Just follow the kites to get there. Talk to Dana when you arrive. She'll tell you where to go next. I didn't say bye to you. I was saying bye to Ben. Oh! I did talk to Mom for a bit. Gotcha. Wait, what? I can turn into a bird now? Oh God, that's not what I wanted. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. Bush. was that? Oh, I guess that's just a bush. Never mind. Whee! Okay, but like, what's that little shrine there? Whee! I'm assuming there's no fall damage. Can I get a... Oh, yeah? Exclusively? Exclusively. Of course. Of course. Go figure. And go figure that Chaotic is not currently available to take care of this issue. Birdos. Whee! I touched the big bird. I touched it, did the big bird. Oh. Can I not pull out the lantern so that I can see the people? Oh, there it went. It's time to set up camp by lighthouse again. John, we need a larger island now that our baby is growing.
No.
Eh?
Nail for you, Tyler.
Okay. Excuse you? Excuse me what? You have a baby and didn't tell me? About that. It just, it didn't seem important. I ain't got no baby. Skyboat. Whoops. This must be the lighthouse. It doesn't seem to do anything right now. I should come back here later. Whee! Who are you? Hello, Akawagam. Was that... What was that noise we heard? What? You made it out okay? I'm John, by the way. Dana and I take care of the lighthouse here on the island. We try to make sure that nothing weird happens in the land of gods. Not an easy job considering all the strange old ruins and wonders here. I haven't had much time to visit them since Erin was born, but I don't mind. I think she longs for adventure, which makes her father proud. If you have the time, I would recommend you go to the Windsong Falls. Okay. When the world was whole... Hey, if you're going into the store, I am out of sliced cheddar cheese. I doubt she heard me. When the world was whole, a water spirit combed her hair at the stream there. Can you pull up people to watch on Mozilla for me? Yeah, I have bread. I just don't have the... I have bread, I have ham. I just am out of the cheddar cheese. If they have smoked sliced cheddar cheese, that's better. I'm going to not pull people up for you because that's that much more resources on my computer when I'm already running a stream. When the world was whole, a water spirit combed her hair at the stream there. Beautiful hair at that. The wind sang to make her hair flow down until it mixed with the clouds. Thus the rainbow was born. Not that I've ever seen one there myself, but it's a nice story. Anyway, you can find the place just north of here. Continue beyond the clouds. Let's talk to the child. Hawk. Hawk, that's your name, right? Right? What happened? Did you see any ghosts or spirit animals, treasures, secrets? I want to explore too. It's so unfair that I'm stuck on this island. Sometimes I go on adventures with my parents, but it's still adventures. We once went to a super awesome place. It's up north and it's kind of snowy with this huge statue. It's kind of broken, but still cool. My name is Aaron, so you know. You alright, Auk? It was Auk, right? I heard rumblings from Kara's shrine. I'm so glad you made it out. My name is Dana, and welcome. It was a long time ago we had a pilgrim here. Yeah, it was a long time ago we had a pilgrim here. Your mentor, Medvin, was actually the last one before you. My parents helped him back then. Now I, John, and our daughter, Erin, will help you. If you ever feel lost, just return here and talk to us. We are here to guide you, after all. Every pilgrim's journey requires a visit to the 3 temples in the land of gods. Kara sealed them a long time ago, right after the Great Divide. There's a sigil on the ground close to each temple. That's where we gather to pay respect to the spirits, and so you too should go there. Sacred words are revealed to those who approach with an open mind. The Eventide Sanctuary is closest, and you will find it northwest of here. Okie dokie. Is this supposed to be like a bedroom? I'm very confused. Like, I get like this is like their little house. This looks like a dining area and a kitchen. So like, is this supposed to be a bedroom? I don't know. Anyway. Oh, I guess there's this tent set up here that I can't go in. Maybe that's where they sleep then. Oh, there's a cave. The fuck? Sheep. I've illuminated the sheep. The sheep hath been enlightened. Hmm. God damn it, just let me read it. Oh. Well, it's unreadable. Nope. It's all in a language I can't understand, apparently. Fish! It's Magikarp! This pond is full of Magikarp. Chippies and cheese, chippies and cheese. Whoop. Um. Can I not? Can I not talk to him? Is that not allowed? Okay. What the fuck? Go back, Yoho. This is not your path. Chaotic would love that. It's like a multi-tailed, twin-tailed fox spirit thing. One gal said northwest. And there were a couple like points of interest apparently to the north, I guess. I don't know. That is a dead bird. There's a dead bird in front of that rock. That's interesting. Oops. Wrong button. The fuck did that do? I mean, I know what it did, but like, what did that accomplish? Oh. Wait, did that open like a portal thing? Oh. Oh, well, okay. I see, said the blind man. Um, what this do? Take key? Wish I could turn into a bird when I'm inside caves. Oh shit. Hello, little wanderer. You took your time. Were you perhaps led astray or just followed by the slow one? His name is Medvin. Slow as few shifters I have met, but sharp, intelligent. Do you know what it is you found? You hold both light and key to lead you into twilight, both dusk and dawn, I believe. Southwest of here, there is a temple, the silhouette of the setting sun. You find more answers there. Go now. Bird faster than Medvin. Secrets await you in the deep. Seek counsel from the ones who slumber. Okay. I guess. Twilight Lake. My brother stayed to guard the lighthouse, and I volunteered to join him in his duty. I shall guard the land and its animals, even if I do not understand why the priestess wants us to stand guard. Are the gods truly sleeping in this land, and we are to guard them? But why then are they asleep? Can gods even sleep? I think this is just a story for children. The gods are long gone from our world, and their lands now belong to the spirits and the animals. But names stay longer than the memory of a face. Interesting. That self-proclaimed god reaches too far. I hope he stretches himself too thin. Interesting. It's a baby! Get some lamb baby love! Oh my goodness! Look at the baby! He's so cute! And it was an achievement! Ah! Tiny baby lamb. You are too adorable. I need... Oh no, what's my button? I don't even remember. Fuck. I'll just have to do this because I don't remember. Whoops. Why am I on caps? Did it do it? I don't know. That was weird. Oh, tiny little lamb babies. They're so cute. But also mutton, like, yeah, you're right. Oh God! I can't see. Huh? Fish? The river, it has fallen. What of the spirit fish? Is she safe? Interesting. I know not of your spirit fish. I am Yohal of the Southern Isles. This is my third and final record of my travels in the land of gods. I happened upon the fox just as I was about to leave for home. He sat in the middle of the road and seemed to laugh silently as if to some hidden joke. I spoke in anger. My people are dying. Why is this happening? The smile seemed sad. The darkness within called to the darkness without. Heal your people to be healed. This is not your path, Yohal. I did not know what to say and stared after him as he left. Later I realized he was right. It was not my path, but one for my whole people. As I passed the Twilight Lake, I met with Kara for the first time. She showed me the Eventide Sanctuary and asked me to gather everyone I knew. This is the refuge we had hoped for. I will journey home again and I will guide my people here. I will see my only child, Rhea, again and I will bring her hope. So is this... Oops. God damn it, I keep doing that. Is this the Eventide Sanctuary? I have the key for it. Open. Open sesame. Ah! No! We made it! We will be safe here. Wouldn't bet on that. Considering, you're dead. Is that random dot? Random particle. Why do you exist? Twilight Guardian opened her eyes at the light of sun and moon shining together. Shutdown calling took both in her sky hands, bringing balance to light and shadow. With her right hand, she releases the sun to let people back from the dream. With her left, she flings the moon into the night sky so that people may dream at all. She's the heartbeat of the seasons, the center of the world, the breath of life and order. Interesting. What is this, a menorah? Oh my god, why can't I go up on this? That's kind of lame. Magikarp! Magikarp, oh Magikarp. Flippity floppity flip flop, flippity flop floop. Bruh, let me go up. Let me go. Oh. Oh, there's more people over there. Looks like something. Huh. There was a staircase leading down and a staircase leading up. Man has paws that cannot run, but chases longingly the sun. Man has wings that cannot fly, but he will always seek the sky. Man has eyes that cannot see, but watch eternity. Man is lost unknowingly in danger, to his own mind, always a stranger. So cryptic. Alright, let's try going down first, I guess. We're gonna play Scooby and Shaggy and check the basement. Oh. Interesting. Too much of a riddle at this hour. Well, Lydia, first of all, welcome in. Hello. Glad to see you. Second of all, it's only 8 o'clock here. Oh, hey. That opened a door. A door. Brain too mushy to help you, sorry. There's probably not much helping that I should need. Because this isn't really I don't think this is really much of like a puzzle game. I think this is really just kind of more just like exploring simulator. So it's kind of a just like explore this cool world you're in, you know what I mean? We made it in this little thing. Well, now, was there a reason for me to make it in here? I don't know. There has to be some rats or something living here. I'm so sick of mushrooms. Hey, there's a rat right there. Lydia, oh Lydia, have you met Lydia? Lydia the tattooed lady. Wait, what? You gotta be referencing something that I am unfamiliar with. I pop in before I left to get to the airport. Airport? Song from the olden days. Oh, you silly old people. Gotta give you shit. Why are you going to the airport? Where are you going? Oh yeah, you're going to that thing, right? I already forgot the name of it. The thing that you were working on the cosplays for, right? Schiphol? In oh, Elfia? Yeah. Yeah, that. I was like, I can't think of the fucking name of it. The Netherlands. Look at that vagina. Anyway, moving on. Schiphol is the name of the airport. Oh, okay, okay. I was very confused. I guarantee that if that was the name of a place in the US, it would very quickly earn itself the nickname shithole. Like, absolutely not a single doubt in my mind that it would start, like, people would call that shithole. Not even that old. Songs from 100 plus years ago. Almost 100. Really? Well then. I was gonna say, it really hurts my brain to think that the 1920s were 100 years ago. That hurts my brain to think about. When the world was still new and the creator had drawn the lands, the spirit animals gathered to talk. Wouldn't surprise me. Wait, what wouldn't surprise you? What do you mean? What? Gotta go have fun with your stream. I will have fun with my stream for sure. I super appreciate you for stopping in. Have fun with your really early morning flight. You guys calling Schiphol like that? Oh yeah, absolutely. It would absolutely would happen. It wouldn't even matter if it was true or not. We would still call it that anyway. Yes, what Uncle Fart said. Have a good trip. Take lots of pictures. Send it to the group chat. I want to see this place. When the world was still new and the creator drawn the lands, the spirit animals gathered to talk. A fox said, there are new animals around. They walk on 2 feet. A crane said, a new bird? The fox shook its head and said, they have no wings. A monkey said, I have seen them too. They are without fur and they cannot climb well. An owl said, they fear the night and drive it away with fire. An otter said, they build nests on the land, but they are not one with it. A deer said, they are loud and do not know how to walk the woods. A bear said, they are like cubs who do not know the way home. The fox cocked its head and said, yes, that is why we have to help them. Have fun with anxiety. Yes, it's... Oh my goodness. You'll do great, Lydia. It'll be fine. Help them, the other animals looked stunned. Yes, the fox said. Their minds see eternity, and they are lost and afraid. They need something to hold on to, or they will harm themselves, the lands, and us, the fox said. What do you propose? Asked a hare. I propose a pact, said the fox. If one of them can talk to us, we offer him the bond with the land. The fox continued, if he accepts, he can take the shape of one of us, the one he made the pact with. And he will be one with the land and still see beyond the veil, and he can guide and guard his people, and so we all will be at peace, said the fox. Guess the deer are saying bye-bye as well. Wait, what? What do you mean the deer are saying bye-bye? Wait, what? Now you confused me. We all will be at peace, said the fox. The other animals saw the wisdom in this and agreed to it, and so some humans can become one with the world, and the chosen were called whisperers. There was a lot of deer outside our house. Oh, nice. That happens a lot at our house too. We'll go outside in the morning and there'll be like a bunch of deer out in the field. Excuse me. Sometimes they'll come up into our yard. The other animals, the whisperers. Okay. Oh, okay. I guess that was it. Samesies. Oh my gosh. Twinsies. Twinning. Hashtag twinning. Interesting. Oh, I see. This is interesting. Well, that's a pain. I suppose trying to do this one's just gonna lead to the same exact thing, huh? Oh no, I got it. What? Didn't actually think that was going to work, but okay. Phil is watching videos. I'll see you when I get home. Okay, I guess. Love you. See you in a bit. Oh, hey, look, another rat. Hmm. Okay. Where, oh, where am I going? Whee! This door has been stuck for a very long time. Wonder if there even is anything on the other side. Interesting. Oh wait, hold on. This is part 2. I want part 1. I am Kara of the Thunder Islands. I had a strange dream that I will record here so that others may perhaps understand its meaning as I did. I had come to study the holy carvings in the lighthouse in the land of gods, trying to understand our heritage. As I reached out to touch some of the runes, it suddenly felt as if a warm hand passed over my eyes and I fell asleep on the sacred stone. In my dream, it seemed to me that the stone beneath me glowed from within, forming a staircase up into the starry sky. Far away on these steps, a golden light grew and drew close. Stars flew from the sky and became someone who had the shape of music and was gentle and sad. The god spoke to me not in words, but in memories and feelings. He warned me of a terrible greed from beyond, a void in the hearts of men. As he showed it to me, I felt it stir and come between us, darkening the golden steps like a storm cloud, cold as eternity. Terrified, I cried out at the pull of this dark void, and I woke. I could not speak for 3 days, but I set out to the ancient temples immediately. If what I have seen is true, the gods are alive and they need our help as we need theirs. Anything of interest down here? Doesn't really seem like it. But there is this other entrance over here, so we can check that out at least. First I want to go see. I know I kind of came over here. I don't remember if were these guys saying anything. No, there was just the there was just the stone with like the confusing thing on it. So it looks like it's time to go this way. Okay. Oh, why am I yawning so much? Goodness gracious. Woot woot. We got 2 lights down. Looks like 2 to go. Wait, what the fuck? What is up with that? Can I even get out of that water if I get down in it? Oh, that doesn't look good. Oh no. Poor guy. Man, why am I so tired? That's that life thing. Oh, so I don't know who all is still listening. Or if anybody's still listening for that matter. But whoever is still listening, the onesie stream will be happening like relatively soon. Also, I really need to figure out relatively well, see, it can't happen this weekend because I'm busy this weekend, and it probably can't happen next weekend because I'll have to be getting the pasture ready to turn cows out. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure what day it's going to be because this weekend I'm gone all weekend for my friend's wedding. I'll actually be like over closer to your area, Uncle Farts. I'll be gone for my friend's wedding all weekend, and then yeah, like I said, next weekend then I'm gonna have to go out and check fence, fix anything that's fucked up, yada yada. Just prepping the pasture. So we can turn the cows out to pasture without having to worry too much about them getting out. Whoa, what is this? What is this? What are you? Come here, little bird. A very long time ago, your people addressed me as the Twilight Guardian. Sitting at the border of dusk and dawn, ensuring safe travel on the paths to the lands of dreams and back again. Even after the Great Divide, I was there, watching as your priestess Kara led her people to safe shores here in my temple. A long time have I waited for this moment to come. I have grown weak, but for the power I was lent tethering me to your world. Listen carefully, little bird. Once again, the void has awakened with great hunger. This time to devour all that is left of our world. But there is still a chance to stop him. The priestess Kara hid 3 fragments of great power, 1 in each temple. You have to make the 3 fragments 1 again. I will give you the part I was given for safekeeping. Without it, I will fade into oblivion. It has been my link to this world since the time the gods were lost to the minds of men. But we cannot wait. Please accept my fragment and finish what was started so long ago. Oh. Oh. Well then. This again? Oh. They collapsed the temple behind me. Say it ain't so, not the void. Please don't get eaten by the void. Great magical amorphous blob with flappy hands. Hey, now that is Guardian of Twilight to you. People's Haven. Complete the Eventide Sanctuary. Ah. Oh, wow. It's like literally the wow, what the fuck? That's what I said, flappy hands. Wow, okay, there's just a giant rock now where the entrance was. That's interesting. Okay. Well, I'm thinking I head east of the lighthouse, maybe. I don't know. There's the lighthouse there. Maybe I ought to go talk to what's her name. Maybe she'll guide me in the right direction. Whee! Oh God! Jesus. Had a lot of momentum.
Hey.
Welcome back again, Hawk. Hope your travels are easy on you. Erin is over her head and ears with joy that a real bird shifter came to visit. To the point where I'm a bit worried that she will run off somewhere on one of her expeditions. Once in the north, when we stopped for a short rest by the hot springs, she was gone in a heartbeat. We looked all over the storm. The storm of the Howling Peaks was less intense back then, but it was still very cold. I found a cave nearby. I went on in to see if she had gone there. She has a certain affinity for hidden places. As it turned out, the spirit bear of the north had just recently moved in there. Aaron sat on his back, talking about everything between sun and moon. Should I be proud or worried? Well, I always ran away at her age, so who am I to judge? I'm getting all nostalgic here. Pilgrimage, let's see. So the next step is usually the archives, the temple in the east. Hey, I guessed right about going east. The ancients built the monuments and cities there, more so than in the west and the north. John has been there frequently. I know it's said that the signs of the Great Divide were early spotted in the east. Much of the ruins have been reclaimed by the land, but just continued to the eastern steppes, and it shouldn't be too hard to find.
Yo.
Hello, Ak. If you're looking for Medvin, he is in the cave here in the village, probably studying some tablets. But what about a story? Maybe about how I met Dana? No? One day I followed a honey-colored doe across an island in the east, the most beautiful doe I had ever seen. Suddenly I came up to a bird shrine. There she was, standing next to it. She smiled at me, and my heart was hers. Dana, not the doe, dummy. It was the first time I visited the land of the gods, or the land of gods. I was chosen to take care of its lands, while she was to inherit the duties for Kara's shrine. You mean the one I destroyed? So that's not very good anymore. Pity that the shrine caved in. Yeah, from what Dana said, it might not be possible to rebuild it. I'll try at least. Anyhow, where are you off to now? Maybe the east is next in line for a visit? It's a bit wilder than the western islands, and there are many ruins from the time of the ancients there. I think the most impressive place is Leafla's Grove, home to Leafla, the spirit deer of the land of gods. Lifla? I don't know. I'm gonna go with maybe Lifla. In the grove grows a most remarkable giant tree, like a storm cloud. That one. Lifla hasn't been seen in ages, but it's said he saved the tree from the Great Divide. The ancients built some kind of altar near the tree. As far as I haven't found out what it does. Might be worth to take a look at. Might be worth to take a look. Goodness gracious, I cannot words today. Let's go take a look at what Medvin's doing with the fucking stone tablets here. Welcome back, Ock. Come look at this. I think I know what you found. The keys to the caretakers. They are described as glowing symbols. So it warped into the lantern, you say? Spectacular. It pains me that I can't go with you, but my back would pain me more. What? You actually used the key? Makes sense they would open the temples, I suppose. But to think my apprentice would converse with the caretakers in person. We all believed the gods were either in eternal slumber or perished. Our prayers have always been to the spirits of the skies and lands and to our ancestors. I have a bad feeling, child, but if if one was still slumbering, you should search for the other caretakers. Questions need answers before it's too late. It seems big changes are coming to our world, and I see you as my own daughter. Ock, be careful out there. Promise me as much. I make no promises of being careful. Whoops. My first guess would be that the other caretakers still seek refuge in their temples by choice or not. I find a passage about eternal skies, rooms in the temples where the caretakers could speak with the ancients. Look for these rooms, Ock. Wow, really? Thanks. That's terribly helpful. Antlers of stone. Find the statue of the deer. Great spirit of the woods, hear our prayers. Guide us safely to she who has been entrusted in your ways and the ways of old. Whoops. Oh, there's the giant tree. Let's Grove. Of Urza, which we loved, lost, and longed for, city of cities, bright and dead. The white swan of marble raising her long neck elegantly into the purple sky. Her eyes 1,000 souls swimming the lake of the never-ending afternoon in the heart of spring. Her song 1,000,000 hearts praising the beauty of life undiminished and brief, a petal on the wind of fall. The white swan of marble folding her luminous wings silently in the ashen dusk, never to be seen again. Goodness gracious. Deer. Oh dear, it's a deer. Yeah, I just want to touch the deer. Touched it. Fantastic. Ten out of 10 would touch deer again. Whoa. Hello, can you fucking turn, damn it. There's a dead fox here. That's unfortunate. Oh, there's a living fox. No, why are you doing this? The old gods are dead. This power belongs to the god king Karuku now. What the fuck? I want to interact with the fox. Damn, folks. I'm starting to feel a little on the sleepy side. Okay, I made the buttholes open. Now what? What do I have to do? Go fly through them all? What was that? Like a crack of thunder louder than I've ever heard. Seemed to come from on, right? The Heartwood. Is that what we're calling it? Is that you, Kara? No, that can't be right. Who are you? I need to get out. I am weak. It's the rock. It's not of this world. The rift further down in the cavern. Close it. Well, I guess I could help you out. Suppose. Even though you were just demanding I help you and didn't say please or anything. Oh. I missed my jump because I was paying attention to my cheese sauce.
I made a 30-minute drive in 20 minutes.
Why?
Well, I think I left the Dylan's parking lot at like 8:17.
Why? Why you go so zoom zoom? Cause dangerous.
You didn't even open up Mozilla for me so I could be following through.
I literally told you I'm not going to do that when I have a stream running.
Why?
Because that just takes up more computer resources.
You have yours up?
I have 2 people up. I debated not doing that. Oh god, I missed.
Fuck.
No.
Free kitty redeem.
Oh. Okay, I don't care about that. I thought you were gonna put her like on my keyboard and I was about to be very upset.
That's a good idea.
No.
You missed.
Oh, now Uncle Fart's redeemed kitty cat. Okay, Uncle Farts. Since Luna rudely walked away, I will get you a much better kitty cat redeem. Hold on. Just let me get to this thing in the center of the room here. Are you kidding me? I missed again. Are you fucking kidding me? Okay. Well, whatever.
Have fun over there.
All right, I'm not going to make you wait. I'm just going to go get the kitty cat. Oy. Come on, chair, roll. There we go. I will be right back. There you go, Uncle Farts. Here's your special kitty cat redeem.
Oh. Hey, that pan thing that was in the oven, is that?
Which pan thing?
Look at it.
Hold on just a second, yeah. New potato, yes, literally born today.
I thought they were born yesterday. Oh yeah, they were born this morning, right?
Yeah, there was only 3 of them born when I left for work, and there's 5 out there now.
Aw.
Mommy's like, I want my child back. They're making her nervous.
You're okay, Mama. Yeah, you're okay. The baby's fine. Yep, it's going back to Mama. No eyes yet. Yeah, exactly. All right. What was I doing? Oh, right. Okay. Luna wants me to go look at something in the kitchen. I will be right back. Okay, guys. Sorry. Dave, you missed it. If you're still there, you missed out. There was a baby kitty on screen. Like literally born today, baby kitty. Yeah, sorry. I got up to go look at something. Yep, definitely, totally. I ate it and gained its power. I went out to look at something in the kitchen that Luna was asking about, and then I was like, oh hey, like I should make myself something to eat. And then Luna was like, oh hey, can you get up in the spice cabinet and find me this and that? And I'm just like, why are you like this? Then he was getting frisky with Luna's kitty. Yeah, it happens. That's a thing that happens. Woo! We rescued the doe. And then he ate Luna's kitty. Wait. That's on the other website, Dave. That one costs extra. Subscribers only, if you know what I mean. What are you doing, little one? Did you come to watch me play the game? Yes, okay. You did it. I feel much better already, thank you. I was beginning to fear a fate where I would fade away.
Pink deer.
It is a pink deer.
I see it.
Koroku's men took hold of my home. They wanted the magic of this place. I fought for so long, but I am just one and they were so many. At least I kept the most important secret, and it's the one you were looking for too, isn't it? I have what you need. Here, take the key. It was my task to protect it, and so I have. Thanks again, young one. I'll leave the rest to you now. Keep the child to absorb its noise-making abilities. I make enough noise already as it is, I'm pretty sure, Dave. I've been told most of my life that I'm too noisy and that I need to be quieter. The only time that was not the case was when I was performing for the Renaissance Festival. At which point, at that point in my life, they were actually telling me to be louder and to project. Because, you know, I was so used to everybody telling me to stop being so loud, so I was trying not to be so loud. I was trying to be more quiet. Not that I really ever was quiet, but I wasn't loud enough for performing. Ah, my friend, what leads a bird to the east and to visit Lifla on top of that? Oh, so she held the key all this time. Use it where it belongs, further east and a dash north, close to my home to be true. But answer me this, how come temples lead downwards when people look up to the sky for answers? It has eluded me for centuries. But that's fine, humans are special creatures to say the least. Interesting. Alright, goodbye, fox thing. Alright, further east, he says. And a hair to the north. I guess he said a dash to the north, but whatever. What that? What that? Wings of Stone. Find the statue of Crane. I don't remember this place being here. Are the lands drifting in the wind? We need to hurry if we want to reach someplace safe. What this? It's a big old cog. There's nothing more we can do. The machine is an accident waiting to happen. We got too greedy. Oh, that person's dead. Maybe not, but... Would you get blown away in an explosion? What the fuck happened? Oh, dead as fuck. Alrighty then.
Yippee. I don't know which one is which. East.
So you just grab both and just...
He got the pepper. Already put the stool away.
Can you reach the one on top of the refrigerator? I guess I'll be right back.
Sorry.
The one with the pointy hat is witch. The other one is wizard. Wait, what? What? I'm so confused. Whoops, wrong button. I meant to hit the X button to flap the wings. So many ruins. Just said I don't know which is which. Oh. Which is which? The one that gives the Twitch? The one that streams on Twitch? The clans of the South are proud people, even now before the great, even now before the threat of the so-called God King Koroku, they will not bow. Before the cities of Urza and On were built, many of their shifters chose the deer as their spirit animal, the protector. But slowly their spirits succumbed to sadness, and they blamed the gods for the darkness in the world. The darkness invited into their hearts spread further. If this is true, then so is the opposite. Existence of light, and there is hope. I am Kashar of the Eastern Islands, and the first shifter in 10 generations. My spirit animal chose me, and I will fight. I will travel north to the monastery to join the other priests. Hoya! Hiya! Hiya! Is that a dead deer? It is. Killed by the unnatural rocks. I found a dead deer, a dead burr or crane, and a dead fox. So I told her, I gotcha, I gotcha. Oh, foxes. Let's dive bomb chaotic. It makes such a cute little noise. Fox? I want. Oh, now you're awake. Also, by the way, you were fucking sleeping on your mod duties earlier. You were all worried before about me implementing things that took away your mod job. And then when I needed you, you weren't here. I had to ban a bot earlier. Oh, you're fine. You never feel good. That's your normal state of being. Exactly. If you woke up and nothing hurt, you'd think you were dead. Yeah, she needs drugs. Hardcore drugs.
No.
Hey, can you take that back to your mother, please? Heard that laughter is the best medicine. So I bought you a mirror. God damn it. Chaotic, we just had a kitty cat redeem just a little bit of The God King demands changes. By royal decree of God King Kuroku, King of Kings and God of Gods, all must bow to him, the only God. His and his alone are all the lands of the east and the land of the gods. Bend the knee and be spared. Resist and see the last of your days. Such is the will of the God King Kuroku, now and forever, written in the 10th year of the Heron in his great city of On. I was gonna tell a joke, but nobody wants to hear about my love life, or lack thereof. Damn. Rip. A ring thing with a thing in the middle? Oh, maybe I just need to go north. I'm trying to find this place that I'm supposed to be going. Eastern Steps. Oh, that might be it, maybe. Oh. Yeah, I think so. Looks like that's the place where my key goes. Oh, so I'll get your kitty cat in a little bit. I'm eating. Economy, these are holy grounds, not just another power source for the taking.
Oh.
Huh?
Did you have?
What do I have? This is leftover steak from a few nights ago or whatever, whenever it was.
I have some steak.
No, because this is my only food.
But I want some food. I want some for mom.
You ate earlier. You said you had pizza at grandma's. Dad has not had dinner. And this is Dad's dinner.
You do have dinner.
Yeah, this is my dinner. Hey, yeah. Well, interesting. Ugh. Looks like a big doorknob. Assuming this just goes back. Yeah. Up here to where you start. Hey-ya! There's a thing all the way at the bottom. Dreams of the people are calm again. I hope this whole ordeal with the king is nothing more than an old man worrying about nothing. Found a fortune. There are multiple pockets of air below. Loads more than we had anticipated. The elevator isn't working again. Who keeps turning off the main switch? Interesting. With this. Hey, nope. Okay, can't do that. Apparently. Oh, interesting. Whoops. Puppies.
I got some sand.
Take it back to the kitchen. You have nothing.
There's just a piece from a sand on me.
Oh, I see.
That's cool.
Hey, do not mess with that. How many times do I have to tell you not to mess with that? Oh my god. Let me get on the thing. Quick. Quick.
Child.
What do you mean? Are you kidding me?
There's
What the hell, kid? Damn it! I guess. Feast in honor of the only god Kuroku. Forever is his reign, king of kings and soon the ruler of the known world. Oh, that's a big ass drill. The fuck? Should we remove these old scrolls before we start up the drill? Oh. Okay. Well, that's where this door leads out. Let's see what's in here, shall we? Okay. Got some gears a turning. Let me... Getting fucking clipped in the damn thing and let me jump, damn it. Oh, come on. That was bullshit. That was bullshit and the game knows it, damn it. Oh my god, quit getting caught on the edges of things. Just jump up. Bro. Why? That light up the door then. Sweet. King's men are soon here. We need to hurry. I hope the scrolls will be safe in here. Saw the broadside of a barn. You can practice hitting. For what? I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I have the aim of a champion. What's this way? potato aim. Sometimes. When the creator made the humans, the keeper of dreams came forward and stood guard. He saw the link between the great dreamer and eternity. Sometimes fear and nightmares were born into the world, and when snatched up by human thought, they turn into horrible realities. So he prepared powerful songs of time and peace, stories to lead the nightmares astray, and he trapped them in eternal scrolls and stored them away. Horrible stories never to come true, stored and forgotten in his halls of sleep. Interesting. Can't catch, couldn't hit the ground if he fell off a horse. Wow. We found a fortune. There are multiple oh yeah, that's right. I already saw that before. Yeet. I'll have you know, I have fallen off a horse before, and I did in fact hit the ground. Not only did I hit the ground, I got kicked by the horse while I was still in the air before I hit the ground. That's a nice slit. So the time has come finally. Then this marks the time for the Keeper of Dreams to wake from this daydream and to resign. How could I protect your people from the nightmares that lurked within their dreams as you cease to believe in me? You have sand? Then take it back to the kitchen. Doubt you'll be able to overcome the shadow that lurks in your world, little human. There is a shadow in every human as well. Horse kick is no joke, that shit hurt. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely limped back to the house. A shadow called emptiness that can't be filled with power nor possessions. Shallow minds led away. Hold on! Wait for the void to come into existence, eating everything away.
Piece of sand on my hands.
Okay, well, go play with your sand in the kitchen, okay?
There's only like enough for 4 things, so like 3 of my lunches, and then
I didn't want your.
this.
I don't want your sand on me. Go back.
Check
What even all is in this?
it's the cauliflower, the seasonings, corn, ranch dressing, and lettuce. Oh, and then like a little bit of lime juice. Hey, out of there.
I want a present. Can you give me a present?
It's missing the cumin.
Cameron! I'm Shirky. I'm Shirky.
Yes? No? Mom likes it.
No,
It's
I
not
like
bad.
it too. You like it? No,
So,
Mom
like,
like it.
If I were to make this
I
again,
may like it too.
Yeah.
No, I like it too.
Here,
Ow, my leg.
if you like it, try a bite.
Only thing what? I was kicked in the thigh. Only thing worse than horse kick is cow hoof standing on your foot. I've had that happen before too. Although I think I would. Hey, get out of my drawer of things. No. Can you stop throwing things when you get caught with it? I don't know where that screw went, but I do not need you losing my things. You were told to stay out. Stay out. I have no idea where that screw went because she threw it. Somebody will find it with their bare foot later. Yeah, I think I had my steel toes on the last time I got stepped on. Yeah, yeah, that's what I said. Find it with bare feet later. Yep, exactly. I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, the creator had to sacrifice himself to lock away the ravenous void, and the lands and skies were shattered in the great divide. Heed my word, little human. Will you be able to find the last fragment before the void does? For myself, I claim the deep sleep and leave my concerns to you. I am free. Goodbye, magical slit. I was barefooted when I was stepped on. It sucks. Oh, yeah. Yikes. Yeah, I imagine that would hurt. Void? Deep sleep? Yes? There comes the evil thing to collapse the fucking temple on me again. There you go, Chaotic. There's your unnatural dirt. Only, I guess technically it's actually unnatural rock. But rock is just hard dirt, so it's fine. Unnatural dirt. Knowledge for power. Complete the archives. Red rock fine. That means that red dirt is fine. Because red rock is just hard red dirt. Good thing it was a young cow, only about 1,800 pounds. Can't imagine a full grown bull of 2,500 plus. I was about to say, if it was a young cow, there's no way it was 1,800 pounds. No way in hell that thing was 1,800 pounds. Surely not. Most cows don't weigh that much. Most full-grown cows don't weigh 1,800 pounds. 1,800 pounds is like a steer. Like, fully grown steer. A full-grown bull is usually not 2,500 plus either. Usually. 2,500 would be a massive bull. 2,000, yeah, easily, but big beefy Angus. I mean, that's what we have is Angus. Well, I guess what we have really is a bunch of fucking whatever the cow version of a mutt is, because they're all Angus, Hereford, and Charolais mixed together. Brangus. God damn it. So we definitely had one bull that like in his prime he definitely had to be like 2,000 pounds, 2,200 maybe even, but he ended up developing like an infection or something in one of his legs, and because he was like limping around, he ended up find the giant bird shrine. Huh. Condor Condo. That was the name of the achievement. Condor Condo.
Hey, what did you do with all those bottles of water that you
all of what bottles of water?
The ones that you found like when you were
I said I found two. One was empty and the other one was clear back against the wall under the bed. I don't remember what I was saying now. Oh yeah, it developed an infection in its leg, so it was kind of limping around, so it ended up losing a bunch of weight. We ended up putting that bull down. He was old anyway. He was really old. And we put him down and then we butchered him so he wouldn't go to waste. And that was a terrible decision. I guess not a terrible decision. It just was not fun. There's a reason you don't butcher old stuff. Or at the very least, if you're gonna do old stuff, you should be like grain feeding it for a while to make it a little better. Like when we were butchering, there's just so much nasty, greasy sinew that we had to cut out. And then like once you got, of course, we also had to throw away the entire leg that had the infection in it. That whole leg we tossed. And then as for the rest of it, that old bull was so fucking tough that the only thing you could make out of him was ground beef. And the ground beef was fine. I mean, it tasted just perfectly fine. There was nothing wrong with it. But like I said, the meat was just so tough, like ground beef was it. We tried to cut some steaks out of him, and I cooked up those steaks. This was like the day that we did the butchering. We had made a few steaks just like as a test and cooked those steaks. Fucking couldn't chew it. It was like meat flavored bubble gum. You were just chewing it forever and ever and ever and ever and ever because the meat was just so fucking tough. It was ridiculous. Home of thousands, we built this shrine to stand beacon and is home to the birds of these lands, much as birds did for us in ancient days. They have been our friends since forever. They scouted the lands and settled in places of soil which could sustain us. When we still were the tribes in the wilds, we traveled with the birds as they moved. We trusted them to mark the moment of change. They taught us to be nomads and shaped us to what we became. Interesting. Got rid of the limousiner. I read that, but I just didn't like actually read it out loud. So where am I going now? I guess start with west and go from there. I don't really know. What the fuck do you want? Oh yeah. I guess I didn't do your redeem yet, did I? Because I was eating. The Creator's Shrine. Look at you. Hold on. Let me get landed here. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. What are you doing? Why are you fake coughing? Huh? Why are you fake coughing? What are you doing? Why are you faking being sick?
Imagine faking being sick.
I have a hiccup.
You got hiccups?
Yeah.
You know how you get rid of hiccups?
Yeah.
Hold your breath. Go. Hold your breath. Supposedly that's supposed to help. I don't know. I don't think it's ever worked for me.
Or getting scared.
Hold my breath.
You hold your breath.
Okay, I guess we have a kitty cat redeem to deal with. So I guess we're gonna do that.
I also want to take pictures of because I need pictures of
BRB grabbing bibbies. Okay, even though Chaotic is not even technically here for her redeem because she went out there to look at all the babies. But here is this one. That one is less noisy, only a little bit. Eat it before it can see you eating it. Oh my gosh. Dave, no, you have to let them get bigger. There's not enough meat on it yet. Jesus, trying to blind me?
It was not supposed to be on. Jesus Christ, Mama.
Yeah, she wants her baby back.
Oh, too bad. I must touch the children.
She wants her baby back, baby back, baby back. Oh, okay. You don't need to consume their meat, you need to consume their essence. Yeah, but you gotta make it worth it, you know?
Wait, we gotta train them.
Oh my goodness, just they are not even 24 hours old. Take them back out
That's
there
why we gotta start harassing
to their
them
mother.
now, so they can be
If they get bigger, then you have to unhinge your jaw. No, you just, like any other animal, you butcher them. You don't eat them whole, you cut them up. Gotta make a meal out of it. Real talk, I would never butcher a cat myself, but if somebody else butchered a cat and offered me cat meat, I would definitely eat it. I would eat cat or dog. I'm fairly certain that if somebody cooked up meat and was like, hey, here, this is human meat, I'd probably be like, fuck it, why not? Meat's meat, right? As long as I didn't know the person. If I didn't have to see them get butchered, whatever, meat's meat, right?
I don't have your children. Oh. Listen to them. Go. I don't have children.
Maybe she just wants attention.
Why did you go down?
Meat is meat, but human flesh tastes weird. Well, you're not supposed to eat the flesh. You're just supposed to eat the muscle.
As the wise words of Fallout, ass jerky.
Excuse me, what?
As the wise word.
Did you just say ass? Yes, the child ruined my big die.
Wise
Why,
words
I don't know.
I got purpose.
Yes, the babies, I'm aware.
So now we have a documented date and time. So when it becomes a year this time.
When none of them are left.
No, because I'm selling one of them. If I can find Fluffy
Before
children.
it dies.
If I can fly. If I can fly. If I can fly.
Flying.
If I can fly.
Flying fluffy Slovlin.
Wait, wait. I still can't say it right. I will never say it. Wakewin.
Why?
Wakewin.
Why are you like this?
Um.
Why do you exist?
My mom didn't swallow.
Is it because your mom didn't swallow or because your dad didn't pull out?
They were both high, so you take the hit. Wait.
Oh, thanks.
You also want a Pepsi? Since Dave's not here.
No.
Is Dave here?
Dave was here, yeah.
Because Pepsi. I get Pepsi Cola until I move out, and then you have no Pepsi Cola fetch.
I do not need a Pepsi Cola at the moment.
No.
Only because I do not
Jesus Christ, I keep forgetting you have.
I do not have a ton of pop right now.
What the fuck does he mean by flip and snip?
Clipped and shipped. Oh, there you go. Meets meat. Oh, there we go. That's what it was.
Jesus Christ.
What?
Okay, if you're gonna go in the cannibal route, just don't eat the brain.
Can I use it as a sub alert? Hold on.
If you
What? What did you say?
if you go and delve into cannibalism, just don't eat the human brain.
Why?
You just don't do it. It's not good. I can't remember exactly what happens, but it's not good. You literally will not be able to eat anything else.
Where?
Go find it.
It's not. What the fuck?
What'd you do with it?
I don't know. It's not pulling the clip up. Also, I don't know who this person is.
Who waited? Rated. Bye.
Real talk, I would never butcher a cat myself, but if somebody else butchered a cat and offered me cat meat, I would definitely eat it. I would eat cat or dog. I'm fairly certain that if somebody cooked up meat and was like, hey, here, this is human meat, I'd probably be like, fuck it, why not? Meat's meat, right? As long as I didn't know the person. If I didn't have to see them get butchered, whatever, meat's meat, right? Real talk. Which part of that's going to be the alert, though? The whole thing? That's a long alert. That's a long ass alert.
No Pepsi.
If I had more Pessy, I would ask for Pessy, but I don't have enough Pessy.
Making protein balls. She's making balls.
What?
Making balls.
What do you mean she's making balls?
Making balls. 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 Also, Twitter.
No. Doesn't exist.
Man, it's right there.
Nope, doesn't exist.
Right there.
Nope. There's no spooter there. It's not real.
Get water.
Y'all, Luna has a tarantula, and I try to forget that it exists on a regular basis. It's time to face facts. The God King is here to stay. It's better to bend a knee than to lose a head. I suppose. Oh, there's no scrolly scrolls on this one. Interesting. Oh shit, you right. I totally forgot about it. I hadn't really done much anyway. Just a little bit of flying around. Not all spirits persist. Not all spirits persists forever. Praise to the cinnamon fingered, the dancer of the southern trees. What? Nevermore will she play beneath their shade. She fell into the darkness, never to laugh again with us. From star to star she skips, following the gods into eternity. Praise to the dance, ended and begun. Also sing of the voice of the grasslands, the sun roarer, the wind caller. Never again will he race through the reeds of the lake, stirring up the swans, or hunt the horses of the wild. He now prowls the dark between dream and wake. Sing of his voice unforgotten till the stars fade into morning light. Interesting. No, I didn't want to go through the thing again. There's an area over there. I think I was already there, though. I think that was the first place I went. I'm not really certain, like, where I'm supposed to be going. I feel like I need to go east first. Probably not really where I'm supposed to be going, but it's where I'm gonna go anyway. Discovered Split Mountain. Oh, hello. Yeah, that is kind of on the split side, isn't it? What if I can't explore this mountain because I refuse to pick sides? Yes, I'm aware that my jokes are bad, but that is what makes them so good. Their badness is what makes them good. Is there not? Oh, right there. That's what I was looking for. Hide in this cave. Your friends fighting out there, you coward. Cave? Am I just blind? Did I fly right by a cave? I don't see an actual cave. What the fuck? I am Ura and the guardian of the land of gods. I made this record so that my children and children's children may remember. On the day of the Great Divide, when our world shattered, I was still a child. I remember sitting at the white stairs of the southern city of Urza. We had planned to journey to the west, but since the God King had waged war on our city, our lands were not safe anymore, and we stayed inside the city walls. God King Kuroku, he was called, had built horrible weapons, flying machines of raining fire, but we always thought them far away, or even empty rumors. When the bell started ringing, fire and tears mixed in a horrible rain over us. We wept and screamed to the gods to end this, but were answered by silence. Then the ground trembled, great cracks appeared and split the white stone walls of Urza, and people fell into the black depths of the earth. Saw my loved ones disappear into the heaving earth, and when the steps beneath me broke, I fell too. But my spirit animal spoke to me, and I remembered and spread my wings. I do not know how, but I flew for a long time over broken lands and stormy clouds. I arrived at the outskirts of the land of gods, half dead, and fell unconscious on its grass. When I woke there, a priestess sat beside me, tending my wounds. She said that Urza was no more, and that the world had shattered. A god had sacrificed himself to seal away a void from our hearts, and broken the world in the process. Many had died, but so had the God King, and his city of On was no more. Our shattered world was now at peace. I wept, and still after many years I weep at the memory of this day and the terrible cost of this peace. Damn. I'm not like really fully understanding all this lore, but oh well. Equalise Den. Oh, is this where this must be what the fox thing calls home then, right? It's the same statue as like what I got the lantern from. Oh, there he is. There you go, Chaotic. There's the bigger fox. Hello again, my wandering friend. How kind of you to visit an old fox's den. It's quite empty, don't you think? No, not the den, the land of gods. Not as many animals anymore, nor as many spirits. Lifla is still in her cave, it seems, and the old spirit bear moves from cave to cave in the north. There were more once. See, a fish and a crane. The spirit fish lived.
Those balls in the fridge, don't eat them.
I don't make a habit out of eating balls.
I'm just saying.
There were more once. See, a fish and a crane. The spirit fish lived in rivers and pools around the Twilight Lake. His last gift to us is the water that never stops flowing. Without it, we would have been lost a long time ago. And the spirit crane, she helped guide the last priests and priestesses north during the Great Divide. She was hunted down by Kroku's men as they mistook her for a swan. Fools, as they declined, so are we declining. All we can do now is ask questions, and I have two for you. Why the Great Divide, and why you? Wander in search of answers, little wanderer. Thank you for your company. It was such a long time ago, but finish your quest now, or else there won't be another time. Think I'm off to bed. Yeah. I was just sitting here debating whether or not I want to go ahead and just save the game now and go ahead and finish it next time. Then again, nobody really seemed to care too much to watch this game, so I don't know, maybe I'll just finish it myself off stream. I don't know. Won't be tonight if I do that. No way, the troops of Urza are coming. The lands are breaking apart. Ah! Surrender, you dogs of On. Fyox. Anyway, good night, Uncle Farts. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. We are lost in different worlds. I without you and you without anyone. In my mind, we reach out to each other and hold hands in the cold, but as the statues are chained to the walls, so are our souls to life and to death. Sarita. I'm going with Sarita. I don't know where you are, but your memory will forever roam the halls of my heart. Damn. That's sad. Oops, wrong thing. I need to go this way.
Did I fix it again? Alright, one more time, okay?
Whoa! I did not want to do that. This is where the bear is supposed to be, I believe. Discovered the tear. Gaze into the abyss. Find the dwellings of the Rift Cult? Oh. The fuck? What the fuck is up with that?
What do you want to do?
Go to bed. Oh. Was I not allowed to answer the question? My love gazes at the false sky, but she will not know me. I took her hand and said her name, but her mind was empty. I fear that it's the doing of the hungry star. It has stolen her soul. The followers say it's a new god and that she is part of it now. The priestess of the old gods said that her soul is lost forever, but do I want to believe this? She will try to close the rift. It is open to our world, but all those who wander on the other side will never come back. Her name was Sarita. Damn. That's crazy. I don't even know what the fuck that rift between worlds there is.
What do you go to the sandcastle? Eat a snack or go swimming?
I can't see. Huh?
Give me my steroid ointment.
Yeah, give me just a second. I'll land down here.
Alright.
Where is... Oh, I see it. Never mind. Maybe this is where the bear is. I don't know. Cave of Harmony. Oh. There's a spirit bear. What happens if I jump on this? Oh, shit. I got the key. Now I just need to figure out where it goes. Oh, look, the fox is back.
Want to make another sandwich?
My friend, the little wanderer, found her way to the far north. Aren't you cold? Even I can feel the chills through my fur. Might be the hot-bloodedness of humans. Well, at least you made the air shimmer in here. Like the stars found at the roof of the world, where the air is crisp and clear and storms never rage. A key in the ice to break ice once more. Go west, go north, but don't freeze to death as other creatures before you. Oh God, why would you do that? Huh? Probably not. I've literally almost dozed off while I'm streaming a few times. I love you. Yes, I do. Huh?
I
Hi.
love you.
Love you
I
too.
promise.
I don't make promises.
Oh, okay. Hey, did you ever look at my text?
No.
Rude as fuck.
I didn't know you texted me. I haven't been looking at my phone. I've been playing.
There you go.
Oh, I saw that one when it popped up.
Oh.
I didn't see the rest of it. But I saw that one.
Oh.
Why didn't you want the attention?
I get enough attention from you as it is.
Oh. Oh. So you don't like the attention you get
That's
from
not
me?
what I said.
It's what I heard.
Can't play it immediately.
You're just a face.
Oh. I was like, excuse me?
Keeps cutting out like all of you to the point where you're literally just a face. Well, now you have some hair.
What's his face taste like? I don't know.
No. No face licking.
Hi, Dave.
She's been mean enough to me lately without licking my face.
How?
You know what?
How?
You know how.
You cannot blame my antidepressants.
Can too.
You were doubled. It's not my fault.
Maybe the doors open. Ah! I'm conflicted.
I bit his arm, and it's kind of salty, mixed with a little bit of dirt.
Wow.
6 out of 10.
Dirty, salty arm gets a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
Just put them in here. Now we have more food than we know what to do with. Interesting.
Flavor is concentrated in the face.
Oh my god. No, do not.
What were you doing at work today?
Water truck.
Was it really dusty?
It's always dusty.
Yeah, I'm not licking his face today, Dave. It's too dusty. It wouldn't be a true taste test.
In the beginning, there was the dreamer, asleep in cold eternity. She dreamed all there is. She dreamed a veil, and behind the veil, she dreamed the creator and everyone involved from a memory of home. Oh my goodness.
I mean, it's got a point.
No.
Can I lick his neck?
He danced between
Or his
the clouds.
nose.
He took 4 steps. So made the lands of the north, the west, the south, and the east. Then he formed the mountains and filled the seas with water from the clouds, and from earth and water he made animals so land and sea would be alive. From stardust and eternity he made gods to walk the lands and look after the world.
Can I just lick your nose?
No!
It's not like from here to here like I did last time. It's just right here.
I want you to lick any part of my face.
Why?
Because I don't want to be licked right now. I'm gonna be a grouchy sourpuss. I don't feel like being licked at the moment. I feel
Well,
like...
that ruins my plan for after DJ.
Oh my goodness. Do not. I already don't trust you.
Mommy, what? What?
Just leave me be.
Trying to kiss you.
No, you're not. You're trying to get into position to lick me.
Let me kiss you.
No, you're trying to get into position to lick me, and I don't want it. Go away.
Mommy, be nice.
Ow! God damn it.
4 out of 10, Dave.
Why? Yeah.
I have to make Dave happy. I'm sorry.
You're supposed to be making me happy, not Dave.
I mean, the fact that he kept fighting me brought his score down a little bit.
No,
Hey, DJ.
I don't
no,
trust
only mom does that,
her
okay?
either.
If you want to give Daddy a kiss, you can give him a kiss. Just don't lick him. Okay? Aw, thank you.
Kiss him. Kiss him again. Look at her.
Okay, maybe this has gone too far. Exactly. Okay. Okay. Hey, all right.
What are you saying OMG to, Dave? DJ, can you say hi, Dave?
Hi, Dave.
What are you doing? Can you pick a spot?
She's like me.
Hey, get out of my face.
DJ,
You're
hey.
blocking my view and you're hitting my microphone.
Hey, Dad's trying to play a game, okay? You wanna watch him?
Yeah.
Look, you're here too. Right there. You see yourself on there?
People happy.
Yeah, and me.
And Daddy.
And Daddy. Yeah.
Babe.
Yep, all three on the chair.
I'll be on the 2 chairs.
Yeah, on 2 chairs. That's right.
Fuck.
Okay, so DJ's actually had my phone. What game is this?
I'm sitting on my chair.
It's AER Memories of Old.
Oh.
I'm trapped with Daddy.
Oh, you're trapped with Daddy.
Yeah. Get me out.
Alright, do you want to take a bath tonight? Or do you want to take a bath in the morning?
I'm gonna take a bath now.
Okay, we'll take a bath in the morning.
Ouch. Mm.
Can you make sure I am up and awake when you leave in the morning?
Ow! Okay, get off.
Babe? Did you hear me?
You said to make sure that you're up and awake
When?
when I leave.
Ow! There. Daddy hurt me.
Daddy didn't hurt you.
He did. He squished me.
I think you squished Daddy first.
You kept pinching my skin on my arm.
I squished you.
Yeah?
You squish us?
I'm not doing any squishing right now.
Can you squish us?
Daddy's a grumpy old
No.
man right now.
I'm tired. The only reason I'm still going is because I am on the last temple, so I was trying to see if I could finish the game before I ended.
Oh. It was a short game.
I want to watch. Ooh.
Okay, you can watch, but you're putting your head between me and the screen, so I can't see.
Hey, DJ, if you want to sit with Daddy, you gotta let him see this. You gotta let him play his game.
See.
Yeah, that's the point. I couldn't see either.
Hey, okay, you're not gonna do this because you're not listening. You and I can watch from over here. Want your sandwich?
Oh. I was not expecting that door to just
Are you
open
done
like
with your
that.
sandwich? Then pick it up.
That's a nice boulder.
How's that?
Consume the child. Why? Hey, DJ, I have an idea. So Dave won't consume you. Go. Hey, Tuesdays.
Tuesday,
You. Say you.
you two,
Don't. Say you
you
are
are
my
my
favorite
favorite.
streamer.
My, you, oh, my favorite stranger.
His favorite stranger.
I mean, that works too.
Yeah.
He do be kind of strange though. I'm not sure what happened when I did that thingy. I'll take that.
DJ, I saved your life. Be happy. I'm gonna go see the kids.
Meanwhile, I was ready to make a joke about you consuming my children, but
Let's go with you. Let's go with you.
I'm struggling.
I noticed. Can you just open the door already?
No, can you?
Jesus Christ.
Witchcraft. Sorcery.
A healer of sorts, closing the forbidden gates to eternity, a lone giant swimming from star to northern light, singing about our world, the great dreamer. mystery and a gift giver, the reason we are at all, and the one who taught the ancient tribes. We long to meet you again. Now eat her to absorb her love for Tuesday. Oh my god, Dave. What if I already love you more than she does? It's down to the two of us now. I've been there since the beginning, Dave. I pushed you to start streaming, and then you did it. And I subbed to you on the first day that you got affiliate. And I've been subbed ever since. I believe you're the only person I have a sub to at the moment. I think I canceled all the rest of my subs. Oh, still at it? Yeah, for right now anyway. You're awake? That's Dave Love. Literally, I was like, I'm spending too much money. I need to not be spending so much fucking money. So I was like, I'm going to start cutting down on my subscriptions.
Gotta let the babies eat.
So I was just like, I can't. Oh my goodness, that is enough of that. She's upset because she couldn't stay out there with the baby kitties.
DJ, where are Dad's headphones? DJ. I will when you tell me where the headphones are.
What?
Yeah, where's the other one? Where's the case?
Pet pads for DJ. Yeah. Arrived, dropped off luggage, and got through security, so waiting for boarding. Damn.
Hey, hang on a second, please.
Forever a guardian of dreams and peace, a fighter and a hunter, trapping nightmares in his library of forbidden scrolls. But anyway, Dave, I was saying that I was going through because I was like, oh, I'm spending too much money. I gotta cancel some of these subscriptions, and then I was just like, I cannot cancel Dave's. I was like, I have had Dave's from day one.
Hey! With you acting like this, you're not gonna get more iPad. No.
Technically, I guess there was one other person's that I also had, like, basically since day one, but he like wasn't really streaming anymore, so I was just like, all right, I guess I was like, since you're not really streaming anymore, I'm just gonna go ahead and let that expire. Hmm. The center of our world, a light bringer and a passage maker, leading our minds to the realms of dreams and back in the rhythm with the tides of dusk and dawn. Lydia, you're not supposed to stab yourself as you're breathing. Oh yeah. What was going on with the issues with checking in? What do you mean? Didn't catch where from the USA they were from. I mean, that's not really a big deal. Did see you guys have a dark blue black passport. Oh, I don't know. I don't have a passport. I think it is dark blue, but I don't know. I don't have a passport, so. Who dies on the journey in which they were made, our souls are stars of the creator took and set in our heart. So from eternity, each time a child is born, a new star descends into its body and fills it with eternal light. Till such time as the body dies and becomes dust again, the star flies back into the skies behind the veil to dream. When the gods left us, they went amidst the stars to search for a new home, and when they find it, there too will we be born again. Mine's wine red, and the Norwegian is some sort of salmon red. Huh. Yeah, I think the only color of passport I've ever seen is the blue. I don't know if I should continue this direction or... Shiro probably has boarded by now. I think the door locked itself. Wanna Luna give her a hug later? Yes. I intend to. I was intending to already be off for the night, but like this is I think the last temple, so I was thinking that I'm almost done with the game, so I was like, oh, maybe I can finish it then. But I don't think I'm going to. Oh, I wasn't staying on for you. I was just staying on, like I said, because I was like, oh, I think maybe I can just finish this and not have to drag this onto another stream. But then again, I also said like, most people didn't really seem like they were that interested in this game anyway, so like I probably could just finish it by myself off stream, and I don't think anybody would be terribly upset by that. Oh wait, that's just that door. I was joking. Sounds like an idea. Yeah, that's, well, I was just like, well, if nobody was really interested in watching it anyway, but I do want to finish the game, like maybe I'll just finish this one off stream then. Or maybe if anybody's really that terribly interested, like I guess I could always record it and throw it on YouTube too. The entrance gate is frozen shut. There's no leaving now. Guess so. I don't know if anybody would watch it if I put it on YouTube though. Like, I know that like my content is definitely, you know, live content. It's not really designed for YouTube particularly. It's kind of like asking somebody to go and watch my VODs. Like nobody wants to watch a VOD because like, unless they like really are interested in the game and like really want to see something that they missed, like most people aren't going to go back and watch a VOD because like the whole appeal of live streaming is the interaction with the streamer and the other viewers, you know? So most people, like I said, are not going to watch a VOD or are not going to watch it on YouTube because it's the same as watching the VOD. Boarding opens 5 minutes. Yeah. Oh, okay. Play Tunic and suffer. I don't have Tunic, but I do have something that looks similar. It's called Lil Gator Game. Damn it, just let me go through there, damn it. Come on. Why do I have to run all the way back around for this shit? That's so unfair. I don't even really know what the fuck I'm doing. I mean, I guess I kind of have an idea what I'm doing, but... I watched the VOD of it, and it looks interesting. But I wouldn't be able to play, because it would give me a headache. Oh, why is that? Why would it give you a headache? Because of how it works, like world map wise? Huh? Yeah, you got me confused on that one. All right, I did it. I found the end of the temple. Oh, what the fuck? Hey, yo. Big fish thing? It's a sky whale? Come closer, little champion. I won't ruffle your feathers. I am the Watcher of the Veil. I guard this world from eternity. But I have spent many years trying to close the rifts that threaten this world. Now, without the faith of your kind, my powers are almost gone. There isn't much left of the first dream of the great dreamer, the dream we call our home. Did you know that the first dream brought forth the Creator? His only weakness was his tender spot for your kind, little human. To create you, he linked his heart to yours, but your hearts grew empty. Shocked by the emptiness dwelling in himself, the Creator ripped the void out of his heart. But time changes many things, and a new little champion stands before me, a human one even. Listen now, champion, these are my last words. This is the last fragment of the 3 Kara left in our care. There is only one step left now. Return the 3 fragments to the lighthouse in the very south, where your people have built a camp. It will show you what's next. It all rests upon your shoulders now, little champion. Like you walk and can't turn camera, but there's a lot of secret passages. What? I am just as confused as I was previously. Your explanation did not help at all. Oh shit, we can actually see more of it this time. Usually it's just the like that just light, like normally you just see the light, you don't see the body. Mausoleum of Ice, complete the monastery. Oh shit. Mzia of the Snow. Today a priestess from the far southeast came to us telling us of a great war between the cities of Urza and On. Her name was Kara, and she requested an audience with the god that is said to sleep here, the Watcher of the Veil. Our master of the scrolls bowed to her and told her if there ever was a god, he must be sleeping so deeply that even she could not awaken him. But Kara insisted that, and he let her into the innermost sanctuary. She stayed there for 3 days and 3 nights. No one knows what she did in there. She left us without a word, but her face was sad, and I fear for our people. What can we do but guard the most holy texts of our ancestors? We are but few, and no one believes us. Our whole world has gone mad, and there is no cure. Oops, wrong button. Okay, guys, I need to get off of here. Where the hell am I at? I guess I'll pick an island, any island. That's not an island, that's a cloud. Here, I'm almost back to the lighthouse thingy, and then I'll quit out of it. 'Cause I need to go and help with consoling the child. There we go. There's the lighthouse. I have to go. Good night. All right. Enjoy your flight, Lydia. Let us know when you get there safely, please. Whoop, shit, no. Hold on. Continue. Save. There we go. Exit. Exit. No, I'll die. Please don't. All right, guys. No time for raid, so have a good night. Thank y'all for being here. I will hopefully be able to stream again very soon, and I'll do the onesie stream as well. So good night, and see you hopefully pretty soon.